Welcome back to Empowered Esquire TV. Today we'll be having a conversation that I like to call, Can the Police Do That? We'll be discussing specifically today when law enforcement can search your home without a warrant. Now, there are some circumstances under which it is true. Law enforcement would not need a warrant to search any premises, and that includes a home. So let's have a conversation about that, shall we? The first, foremost, and most frequent and common way that police are able to search a residence without a warrant is consent. Of course, that seems obvious, right? If you allow them into your home, then they can search. But here's the question. Who can give consent? That's where things get kind of sticky, right? So let's talk about that a little further. Now, in order to give consent for law enforcement to search a home, the person has to have what's called common authority of the home. What does that mean? Well, common authority means this person has to have enough authority over the premises that is going to be searched. So for example, let's say it's an entire 2-bedroom home. That person would have to have authority over the entire 2-bedroom home if they are giving consent to the law enforcement agent or police officer for them to search that entire home. So what kind of person typically has that kind of authority? Well, someone who lives there, right? So someone who owns the home and lives there as a co-occupant or a roommate, that kind of person would probably have enough common authority to give the police consent to search the entire premises, right? So who wouldn't have that kind of authority? Well, a guest, no matter how frequent that guest is, would not have the kind of authority to give the police consent to search. And also, consent has to be given by someone who is 18 years old or older, thereby an adult, right? So even a child occupant of the home, a child who lives in the home, a minor who lives in the home, that person cannot give law enforcement consent to search. Now let's discuss the second way that law enforcement or the police can search your home without a warrant. The second way in which your home can be searched without a warrant is called exigent circumstance. Now, in the law, it's legalese that just means an emergency is happening right now. So, what kind of emergency could that be? Well, if the police are in pursuit of a person and that person runs into your home because your screen door was open to get some air or you had just so happened to open your door at that moment, that is called an exigent circumstance. It is an emergency, which warrants that the police have to come into your home in pursuit of this person, right? And yes, that will mean that they are able to search your home because to their knowledge, the last visible sighting of this person was them entering your home, which means that person could be somewhere in your residence. So exigent circumstances are another way in which law enforcement can search a premises without a warrant. An exigent circumstance simply means an emergency. Now for the coup de grace, right? The third way that law enforcement could search your home without a warrant, and that is what's called a search incident to arrest. Again, more legalese, but here's what it really means. It means you are being arrested in this area, and so the police now have the right to search that area. So let's walk down the road of an example, shall we? Examples are the best way to understand things. The police are arresting Anthony Brown. He is being lawfully arrested. Notice I said lawfully arrested inside of his home. The police can now search his home, with the rationale being that Mr. Brown may have weapons in his home that could harm the police during their arrest. Mr. Brown may have accomplices hiding in his home that could harm the police during the arrest. So the police are allowed to search the area in which a person is lawfully arrested in for their own safety during the arrest. And that wraps up this episode of Can the Police Do That? featuring warrantless searches of your home or residence.